Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Morning to you. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar's newest location, the TA Travel Center Amico, now open 470 Frontage Road in Mineral Wells, just off I-77. And the IHOP, which is located inside the truck stop, set to open tomorrow. Again, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota, Ford, Lincoln, or make that Thornhill Ford Lincoln. Well, they do Toyotas, but that's down the road. On the Thornhill Motor Mile, come check out the F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Shop anytime at thornhillford.net or stop by US 119 in Chapmanville. Phone calls to the show with service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Welcome to the show. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Beautiful fall weekend here in the Valley. Indeed, we are gearing up for another 107.3 Trick or Beat, brought to you by Salango Law this Thursday night at Gomart Ballpark. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Don't know whether Woody Woods is going to be able to join us or not, but I got a replacement if Woody's not going to be here to talk about Trick or Beat. Also, we're going to speak to Delegate Mike Pushkin, also state Democratic Party chair. He'll be joining us in studio. And Tiffany Hoben from the conservative think tank, the Cardinal Institute, is coming up as well. Plus, as always, your phone calls and texts, Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-500. I want to start, though, by going out to the field, checking in on our Robb Reel from our sister station 96.1 KWS. In case you missed it last week, Robb set out last week on a walking trek from our studios here at 1111 all the way to WVU Children's Hospital in Morgantown to deliver that big old check. He rested for the weekend a bit, but this morning he's back at it. Let's go live to Robb. Robb, good morning.
Good morning. Out in the field is definitely correct. It is Take Me Home Country Roads for today's portion of the walk. Stepped off about an hour ago from the left-hand post office and didn't stay on the numbered roads for very long. If the directions to your house involve turn off the paved road, you might be walking to Morgantown. It is, it's all county roads until I get to Arnoldsburg today, it appears.
Yeah, and again, people are probably saying, well, why don't you just take 79? That's a safety issue. That's why they wouldn't let you take 79. Is that right?
Yes, and so, of course, we cleared things with West Virginia State Police. And we did talk about it would seem safe on that big, wide, flat, paved shoulder of I-79. It seems safe until it's not. And so we didn't want to be in the way of any construction or any breakdowns. And frankly, it's really quiet out here in God's country right now. I'm seeing some beautiful vistas, and I plan to all the way through this day 3 of Walktober with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
And I want to give a big shout out again to those folks at Panhandle. Now, how far do you expect to go today?
The plan today is about 17 and a half. I had a really restful weekend. What I found about myself is a weekend is exactly enough time for everything to stop hurting. So I'm all fit and fiddle this morning. Mother Nature's cooperating, sunny and 78. And if my body cooperates, I may go a little farther. This week is kind of the stretch of where it can be elastic. If I want to go a little farther, I can. If I have to stop a little short and, make it up later in the week, I can do that too. But officially 17.5 is today's target distance.
And again, we're talking to Robb Reel from our sister station, Superstar Country 96.1 KWS, who set out last week walking that big old check. Well over $100,000, almost $200,000 check, I think he's taking from our studios here at 1111 to WVU Children's Hospital. Now, you said you got a little bit of rest over the weekend, and I don't care to tell this because, you and I have a similar sense of humor. You got to laugh instead of crying. But I was talking to Crash and some of the folks in studio, and they said that, your calves were bothering you last week, obviously a little soreness. But the biggest problem that you seem to have was chafing. Chafing, Rob.
Yes. So we men of a certain age, and I say
Lord.
we because you're about a half a lap ahead of me in the age race. Gravity is a cruel mistress, and she is undefeated. And there are things for a almost 51-year-old body that I did not account for because the last time I was going this kind of distance, it was a 20-year-old body. So. I've reached out to my brother-in-law, Ed, who he does super marathons because he's that guy, so like 44 miles at a time.
Right.
And he has recommended some products.
This is going off the rails really quickly.
Yeah, my feet, my knees, my back, I expected. I did not expect this.
We'll leave it at that. This, okay? Just as next year, sponsored by Panhandle, but also sponsored by Gold Bond. That'll be our corporate sponsor. Now, again, you can, if you don't follow Superstar Country 96.1 KWS on Facebook and on the social medias, make sure you do because Rob has been posting videos from the road with pictures and so on and so forth. I saw you chowing down at Blanche's Diner in Clendenin a few days ago, so I got to get that sustenance. Hey, Rob, I appreciate it, man. Be safe out there, and we will check in with you once again, top of the show tomorrow, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Robb Reel from our sister station, 96.1 KWS. Again, Rob is walking, started out last week, walking from our studios here on Virginia Street all the way to Morgantown to deliver that check, that big old check, $170,000 some dollars, I think it was, to WVU Children's. And, we're going to be checking in with Rob, and sorry to use the term chafing on the air. That may be the first time in the history of this show, going back well before me, that the words chafing have ever been used on the show. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is presented in part by Generations Physical Therapy, the leading provider of outpatient PT in the tri-state for nearly 30 years. To get your appointment, call 304-760-5660 or visit generationspt.com to find the closest location near you. And again, I want to give a big shout out to those folks. I posted a little video over the weekend about it. I'm actually a patient now of Generations Physical Therapy. I got something going on with my lower arm. It actually starts at my neck and it goes all the way to the fingers, completely numb, and it's been that way since June. With pain in the top part, numbness in the bottom part. I did one session with the folks over at Generations PT, and it did me a world of good. And so I'm not only, as they say, like Hair Club for Men, I'm not only a spokesperson, I'm also now a client. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor, text 304-935-5008. I want to spend some time this morning talking about a new survey that was done by the Cardinal Institute. It was conducted among parents or guardians of school-age kids. Now, this was a nationwide survey, but the Cardinal Institute has released this as part of something called the State Educational Opportunity, and it was done by groups called 50 Can and Edge Research. Tiffany Hoben is the Director of Educational Partnerships and Strategy, and I think she joins us now. Tiffany, are you there? Good morning. Do we have Tiffany? We do not have Tiffany. Okay. All right. We'll see what's going on with Tiffany. I thought we were going to have Tiffany right after Robb Reel, but I guess not. All right. So, okay. Well, we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
If you use tobacco, chances are you've thought about quitting. And all of us at the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network think that is truly awesome. Quitting is tough. It requires commitment and support. But first, it requires thinking of quitting. You've taken the first step on your own. The West Virginia Tobacco Quit Line can help you take the next one. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW or visit WVTobaccoQuitline.com for practical tips to give up tobacco for good. Quitting is tough, but West Virginians are tougher. You've got this.
Elect State Senator Mark Hunt as your state auditor. To protect our tax dollars, we need a proven leader and a man we can trust. Successful lawyer, businessman, public servant. Hunt for the name you know. Hunt for Republican, Mark Hunt for State Auditor, November 5th. Paid for by the Committee to Elect Mark A. Hunt Campaign Fund.
Hey, adventure seekers, step up to the starting line on the Thornhill Motor Mile with the Ford F-150 at Thornhill Ford Lincoln. Hey, it's Sydney with the truck that redefines tough, built with a military-grade aluminum alloy body and a high-strength steel frame. Whether you're hauling, towing, or just cruising, the F-150 is your ultimate companion with up to 14,000 pounds of towing power. Ready to conquer your next challenge? This truck month, come see the F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Shop anytime at thornhillford.net and US 119 in Chapmanville. Step up to the starting line with Thornhill. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for full details.
It's 9:18, Piggly Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. And coming up a little bit later on, we're going to be talking to State Democratic Party Chair and Delegate Mike Pushkin. He'll be stopping by. Also a little talk about Trick or Beat, which is happening Thursday night over at Gomart Ballpark. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor is always happy to take your call. He's got a beautiful listing in Scott Depot. Check out this one, 75 Poinsettia Drive. It's a stunning 5,600 square foot home. Way too many features to mention here, but it does have 6 bedrooms and 2 half baths, 2 laundry rooms, and a full house generator to make sure the power always stays on. Call or text my good friend Rich the Realtor, 304-932-7488. Let him tell you more about this great property. Again, as I said going to break there, I wanted to spend some time talking about a new survey done by the Cardinal Institute. It was conducted among parents or guardians of school-age kids. It was a nationwide survey, but the Cardinal Institute has released this as part of something they're calling the State of Educational Opportunity. And the folks at 50 Can and Edge Research were part of that. Tiffany Hoben is the Director of Educational Partnerships and Strategy, and she joins us now. Tiffany, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dave. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. First of all, I have to ask, anytime I talk about a particular survey, how and why was this survey conducted?
Yeah, the how, this survey was conducted for parents that have students in any K-12 setting. As you mentioned, it was across the country. Of course, Cardinal's focusing on the results for West Virginia. And, I think the why is it's kind of a critical time in education. There's a lot of talk about, school choice across the country. And the results of this survey sort of is a call to action, honestly, for West Virginia.
Now, Tiffany, I'm just yesterday and last night kind of perusing the results. One part found that West Virginia parents and guardians are engaged with their kids' learning, but they aren't satisfied for the most part with their kids' schools. They say less so than what other parents are around the nation with their respective schools. Why is that?
Yeah, I actually think that point, Dave, is one of the highlights of the survey, right? That parents are going places where they feel like they're welcome. So they're going to PTA meetings and PTO meetings. But overall, compared to the national average, they're dissatisfied. And one of the interesting points is that in West Virginia, parents rated very low on this percentage answering they feel like they have a choice, which is really interesting to me because we actually have more choice in West Virginia than most other states in the country. There are lots and lots of options, and we're falling below the national average in school satisfaction, and parents are saying they would not make the same choice if they had the option. And, the message for me is we have all the options, and I think it's just a matter of spreading the news that all of those options are present for parents and that they can make a different decision if they choose to.
Talking with Tiffany Hoben again from the Cardinal Institute. Another finding in this, and reading this last night, Tiffany, around 29% of parents say that they are confident. Only 29% of the parents say they're confident that their kids will be equipped to succeed in the workforce, and only 28% say their kid is prepared for college. That's not a lot, Tiffany.
It's really not. And, it's below what is already sort of a dismal national average, right? The national average in those two categories is 34 and 32%. Respectfully. And, so when we think about what does college and career readiness look like, right? If you're picturing in your mind a K-12 student that's graduating from high school and they're about to go out into the workforce or they're about to start college, what are the expectations for what you would want them to be able to do? Well, we want them to have critical thinking skills, to competently express their thoughts through writing, to be able to read well, do basic math, right? Be able to go shopping and do percentages and all of those things that we have to do in our lives, and to be able to engage in civil society, right? To understand our constitutional republic, to understand how to engage with government. And what we see in the performance metrics is that despite putting more and more money into the K-12 system, on most of those metrics, we're running about 50%. If you go to the Board of Education's website and pull up any local county in West Virginia, math and ELA proficiency runs right at 50% in every single county. And I don't know about you, but 50-50 is not odds I want to play with my child's reading and math. And recently, the nation's report card, NAEP, does testing in U.S. history. There's 4 categories that they test: American democracy, American culture, economics and technology, and the role of America at large in the world. And in the last 10 years, historically before 2014, that score always went up, right, when we gauged those things. And in 2014 and 2018, from 2014, the scores have done nothing but go down, right? In the last 2 metrics, the scores have dropped. And that's nationwide, so it's not necessarily an indictment on, West Virginia per se, but we're not teaching our kids civics and government. And I think that something that we can do here in West Virginia to improve those outcomes specifically is to take a shot. I think parents should be demanding that our social studies standards in West Virginia be rewritten to reflect the accurate telling of our history and a rigorous teaching of how to interact with our government and how our form of government works.
Well, I can say this, and I don't know how much they're actually retaining this, but and of course you and I have never met till this interview, but in a past life, I used to work for the West Virginia Secretary of State's office, and we went into schools, into civics classes. So the classes are there. They're being taught, and I just don't know how much the kids maybe are retaining of it. But the civics is a requirement in schools. Yeah. But again, it's just like with math or anything else. I guess you have some teachers that are better at it, I guess, than others. Do you think that when you hear these numbers, does it seem like we're putting a lot? I mean, it kind of seems to me like there's a lot of blame put on the school system, and I completely understand that. But isn't there some sort of parental responsibility here as well? Where does that factor in?
Parental responsibility in terms of like civics and government, math and reading? I
mean, a lot of that stuff I actually learned at home.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, right? Like my dad was a Navy man, and I learned all about everything government.
Of course you
military,
did. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Talking to my dad at home.
But not all kids have that, I guess.
No, not all kids have that, and not all parents are prepared to talk about, right, like the structure and function of government at home. And, to your earlier point, they are teaching it. Like I have no doubt in my mind that there are civics classes out there, but just as a reference point, my background was that I was a civics and government teacher for 15 years in the school system, and then trained other teachers teaching how to properly teach the American government in their classrooms. And it's definitely happening. But one of the things that I find is if we're waiting until middle and high school to have these conversations, it's a little bit too late.
Yeah,
Elementary
agreed.
School teachers should be teaching these things too. And, math and ELA, of course, parents should be supporting their children at home, but not every parent is in a position to do that.
I got you.
I taught kids in elementary school that, their parents worked evening shifts and they walked home from the school bus and didn't see anybody until in the morning.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles. It's a great resource. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Tiffany, before we wrap this up, a couple of other quick points. A lot of parents say that they don't understand how school budgets work. And we spent a lot of time here in Kanawha County talking about money for schools because we're in the midst of a lot of school closing consolidation hearings. There's another one coming up tonight here in Kanawha County. So a lot of parents have got questions about budget issues when it comes to the schools as well.
Yeah, and that is 100% fair concern. I think, you can access at some very high level some information about how money is spent, but the buckets are very big buckets where a lot of the detail gets lost. They're not located on the district's website. And so, in my opinion, financial transparency is, this is taxpayer dollars. These are publicly funded schools, and they should be required to list out their expenditures. Like, I want to know exactly what's happening here. And I think that parents might not know where to find that. If I was a parent and my kid is in the school down the street, I would go to Riley County District website and look for it there. And I think parents have got to demand that information about how those tax dollars are being spent is easily accessible, understandable to like a lay person who finds it on the website and can see how those funds are being used. They have a right to know that.
Tiffany Hoben, again, is the Director of Educational Partnerships and Strategy for the Cardinal Institute. Is there a place online, Tiffany, where people can check out this survey or the results for themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to cardinalinstitute.com. Everything is on our website, the 50 CAN survey in full color with all the questions and all the percentages. And I am there as well. People can email me and ask me questions anytime, and I'm happy to answer them.
All right, Tiffany. We'll talk again soon. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave.
Tiffany Hoben, again, the Director of Educational Partnerships and Strategy for the Cardinal Institute. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging. It's Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. This Thursday night, one of our other sister stations, 107.3 The Beat, will be over at Gomart Ballpark, with about 5,000 kids or so for the annual Salango Law Trick or Beat. Woody Woods got called away this morning to a meeting, but we have a replacement, I think, for Woody Woods in studio with us this morning.
Hi, I'm Woody Woods.
That is not Woody Woods. That is Steve Animal from 987 The Mountain.
Come on.
You're a little taller.
I am about 8 inches. So
this is a big event, Trick or Beat, and we've been doing this for a long, long time. Couldn't do it without the folks at Salango Law. There's a ton of other sponsors, and we'll be talking about those for the next couple of days that get it out. This is a big event, Mr. Animal.
Yes, it is. Coming up this Thursday, there's two shifts, two options for you to roll into the park at 6 to 7 or 7:30 to 8:30. And I know we've been giving away tickets. I was up at the front desk a little bit earlier. Some people over from Piedmont walked in. Some people actually from the city looking for tickets for their kids, which is pretty awesome. So it's going to be a great night. The weather's supposed to cooperate too. So lots of fun, lots of candy.
Lots of fun, lots of candy. I mean, what more could you ask for? And Woody Woods and G Money and all the folks from the Beat.
The entire crew.
Well, pretty much the entire crew. I am not going to be there. I was there last year, but I will be because Rob is out walking to Morgantown. Somebody's got to do some work here. So I am going to be on our sister station, KWS, doing a live broadcast from the Putnam Career and Technical Center on Thursday night. So I will not be a part of it. But again, as Steve said, It is Thursday night, and you do have to have tickets, but the tickets are free. And I was standing out front talking to Tracy and the folks out front, and yourself a little bit earlier. People just roll up into our office here, 1111 Virginia Street East in Charleston, and pick up the tickets.
While they last.
And this very easily could sell out. I mean, and again, the tickets are free, but just for a head count, we have to have it. And parents don't have to have tickets. It's only for the kids. I was talking to a mother out there that showed up. She was bringing 2 kids, and there are 2 sessions. So you got to decide, do you want the 6 o'clock or the 7:30? And as I mentioned, Salango Law is the title sponsor on this, but there's a whole lot of other folks that are making it possible too.
True. There's a 6 ticket limit on that, but whole slew of people, your friends and family, coworkers, West Virginia Eye Care Consultants, Poca Valley Bank, Revolt Energy, ACES Coalition of West Virginia, A to Z Outlet, West Virginia Health Right, Cam's World, Capital Market, Family Healthcare Centers, Elk City Cycles, Charleston Police Department, and the City of Charleston, Natalie Tennant for Kanawha County Commission, Pizza Hut, Quantum Party Rentals, Charleston Dirty Bird, CAMC, Women and Children's Hospital, Downtown Ford, Charleston Blueprint, Delegate Mike Pushkin, Delegate Hollis Lewis, and Garib Dental Group, all your sponsors for this year's 2024 Trick or Beat.
And last year was the first year that I actually got to participate in it, because the other years I had other things going on. But I mean, this thing, the lines go way down the street. But again, once the tickets are gone, that's it. And
it was sold out last year.
It was sold out, and we had to cut off the tickets. So I'm going to say over the next 1 or 2 days, you need to make your way, parents or grandparents, down to 1111 Virginia Street East in Charleston during normal business hours and pick up the tickets. The tickets are free, but again, just for the head count purpose. And the parents don't need tickets, only the kids, because you don't have tickets, you don't get in. We have 2 different, I want to say, shows, or performances, or whatever you want to call it, events between 6 and 7:30 this Thursday night over at Go-Mart Ballpark. You did a great job.
Thank you.
As a Woody Wood surrogate.
Oh, thank you. I feel very privileged, and I thank you for the opportunity, Woody, for sleeping in this morning.
Now Woody actually had a meeting. I talked to him last night. Woody has a music, because all that music that they play on the beat's got to come from somewhere, and I think he was in a musical meeting with some, or beating, as I said, with record executives this morning. So we'll try to have him on Thursday's show. But again, the beat, and a lot of our folks, not all, but a lot of our folks are going to be over there. Get your tickets over the next couple of days at our studios during normal business hours, 1111 Virginia Street East in Charleston. It's brought to you by Salango Law. They're the title sponsor, and all those other great sponsors that Steve Annable mentioned as well. Thursday night, 6 o'clock. The other one starts at 7:30. Mr. Woods, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
The Dave Allen Show at 580 Live, brought to you by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, please know that they offer custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little to no cost. 50/50 salary match is available, too. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, State Democratic Party Chair Delegate Mike Pushkin is here, back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
Fall is the best time to plant trees. MonPower and Potomac Edison are here with tips to help you plant smart. Let shade trees lower your electric bills. Carefully positioned trees can reduce a home's energy consumption for heating and cooling by up to 25%. For more tree planting tips, visit FirstEnergyCorp.com. This message sponsored by First Energy, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and the station.
We need leaders in the House of Delegates who know what it takes to create jobs. We need Mark Carter in District 57.
All of us are struggling with the inflation caused by Biden and Harris. I have worked with employers paying great wages to bring them to West Virginia. I'm committed to doing it again.
Mark Carter is running for House of Delegates to improve our economy and create better paying jobs for our families. Let's elect a pro-jobs leader to the House.
I am Mark Carter, and I would appreciate your vote for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Mark Carter for West Virginia.
My weekly card game.
Visits from my grandkids.
Volunteer tutoring.
No matter what the best part of your week is, if you're 75 or older, or 60 or older with certain health conditions, the most important thing on your schedule should be talking to your doctor about an RSV vaccine. Because vaccines are the best protection from getting very sick, and no one has time for that. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We're going to check in with State Democratic Party Chair Delegate Mike Pushkin here momentarily. Ryan, okay, we got it. We were having an issue with headphones in here because someone likes to lift the adapters for some reason. But we were able to get it taken care of. So, Ryan, never mind.
I've found you do not need an adapter. That's why there's no adapters. You have a 1/4-inch input and an 1/8-inch input over here.
Okay. So. I didn't know that. That's the voice of Mike Pushkin. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we're, of course, going to continue to check in on Robb Reel on his walk from Charleston to Morgantown. Mary Ann Clater, a Democrat candidate for state auditor, is going to be on the show tomorrow. Good friend Anthony Lewis from HD Media is here. He's spearheading this big party Saturday night. It's kind of a fundraiser, if you will. We'll talk about that happening at Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll get into that tomorrow. And also on the show, State Senator Mike Stewart is on the show tomorrow as well. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Mike Pushkin is here. What do you think of the new digs, man?
It's really nice in here. I mean, you even have 2 different inputs for the headphones we just found, and yeah, this is really nice. I want you to keep it neat, though. I mean, they made this really nice studio for you, and I want you to take care of it, Dave.
Well, you know,
take care of it, it'll last you.
I'm a neat freak, so you don't have to worry about Dave in this. I'm kind of, and this is only our temporary home because this is kind of the transitional studio. We're going to be in here for a couple of months while they redo our studio, which is in the old location upstairs, and then we'll move back there. And then all the stations will just kind of, move through here until we get it all done. But eventually, we will be on camera. So keep that in mind. You'll be on camera.
Well, I'll have to start dressing nicer then.
You look pretty good today.
Today, I have a meeting after this, and I'm dressed. I'm presentable today. But as you know, sometimes I dress for radio.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Jets last night or not?
Well, I'm extremely tired. I drove all night. I was. There were. Some people know that former President Trump was at the game. He was not the only dignitary at the game last night. I was also at the game, and the second half was not very good for my Jets, but congratulations to the Steelers and all the Steelers fans. But I drove back all night because I didn't want to miss seeing you, Dave.
Well, so I appreciate that.
I drove through the night. Slept for a couple hours. I've got some coffee here. I'm good to go.
Which you're not supposed to have in the studio, by the way.
It's a non-spillable cup.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But I had a friendly bet with with Mayor Glenn Elliott, our nominee for United States Senate. He is a Steelers fan, and we had a friendly bet, like $5. So I'll publicly say that I owe Glenn Elliott $5. Now, I owe him money, unlike his opponent, who owes everybody money.
I knew
and
where that was
currently. Had his debts paid off, some of his debts paid off by a Saudi bank, from what I understand, which is incredibly compromising for somebody who wants to be in the United States Senate. But no, I owe Glenn Elliott $5. He doesn't owe anybody anything, unlike his opponent.
Speaking of, as you were earlier, about you were up for the game. Former President Donald Trump was also at the game. I got a text about that. I'm going to get to that here momentarily. I have to say, though, that come on Saturday night, I guess when Trump did the appearance in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, I did not have a former president talking about the size of a late Arnold Palmer's penis on my bingo card.
That was just odd. And I saw that Arnold Palmer's daughter, one of his daughters, came out and said it was really inappropriate.
You think?
Disrespectful to the memory of her father. I wasn't watching it, but I heard about it. And why on earth? Well, something's going on. There was a lot of talk after the first debate where Biden had to get out of the race. That talk should have been about Donald Trump as well. He got up and danced on stage last week during a town hall. He just decided to quit answering questions and dance for 40 minutes.
If that's what you call what he does. I don't know. If you watch...
he was just swaying back and forth to Ave Maria, which is not exactly a dance number.
Well, and he's also got a fondness for YMCA. And I'm just going to leave that one. I'm going to leave that one alone.
He's got a fondness for music that he's allowed to use legally because those who write the music didn't sue. A lot of times he'll use songs and then get sued over it. Apparently... Franz Schubert, who wrote Ave Maria, hasn't sued him yet. but it's coming.
That text says, Dave, we get Dementia Donald awkwardly swaying to music for near 40 minutes. Then we get Ding Dong Donald fawning over Arnold Palmer's manhood. Then we got Ronald McDonald pretending to work in a closed McDonald's. I'd be embarrassed to vote for that mentally declining geriatric. I don't know. Was the McDonald's closed? I don't know whether it was or not.
I have no idea, but it's just he's playing McDonald. The guy's never actually had to work any side of a restaurant job, and we all know that he was born the son of Fred Trump, born to a real estate magnate in New York City, who was sued countless times for civil rights violations, by the way. But no, I don't think he had. That's probably the first time he set foot in a McDonald's.
Well, no. Well, maybe the first time he set foot in there, but he is known to be quite the McDonald's
You're right.
fan.
I remember that time when he bought all the McDonald's cheeseburgers for people at the White House.
The White House staffers say that he's quite fond of laying in bed and eating McDonald's and watching himself on Fox News. That's a quote from people that have worked there. I lost a little bit of respect for Donald Trump when I found out he orders his steak well done and puts ketchup on it, because that's not of God, in my opinion.
No.
The only thing I would say is if your grandpa started acting the way Donald Trump has in public, you'd probably not take him out in public anymore. I'm just saying.
It's odd. The Arnold Palmer rant was incredibly odd, and well, I know I won't be voting for him.
Text says the McDonald's was closed for a few hours during Trump's visit. The customers who served were supporters who were screened ahead of time. It says it. And maybe there's a safety issue there, and possibly I understand. I'm reaching. I'm trying to give him benefit, but I don't think I could do that. Text says, Dave, could you inquire with Delegate Pushkin about the Iran and Afghanistan war monument that was to be built at the state capitol in a similar fashion to the other war memorials there? He sponsored a great bill that passed in 2020 to build it, but now we're pushing 2025. A lot of Iraq and Afghanistan vets and Gold Star families are scratching our heads. We fought to and deserve a monument on par with those who fought in other wars.
I really appreciate that question. We did push a bill through, not a resolution either, an actual legislation that went through years ago to honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and gave their lives for wars in this century. I mean, there are other great war monuments up there at the state capitol, but there wasn't anything for those who gave their lives in this century and the ongoing war on terror, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. And we passed that. Of course, it passed unanimously, and it was signed into law. And then more recently, there was another bill that even spelled out more specifically what the monument should look like and how to pay for it and everything. And there hasn't been, as far as I know, no movement on that from from the Division of Culture. I believe it's through the Division of Culture and History.
Probably, yeah.
That or the Capitol Building Commission, of course, which is chaired by cabinet level position now, who was also. But I don't want to get in any trouble here. But when you have stuff there is no legislation for, and you're pushing something through to put Baby Dog's picture into a mural. And spending tax dollars on things like that, but then it's very frustrating for us. We're something that we all agreed on in the legislature to pass for this monument, and so far, there's very little movement on that, and it's incredibly disrespectful. And I share the texter's frustration.
And that was
we passed a bill. We passed two bills on it. And it seems like some people in state government, some unelected folks in state government, just do whatever they want. A lot of them happen to work for Governor Justice.
That was the whole rub on the whole thing with Baby Dog and the portrait. It wasn't about the dog. And I know I got texts to the show when people said, well, aren't there more important things to worry about? And I agree with that. However, it's the process. And in state government, as someone who used to work at the Capitol, I can tell you, you don't move a vase in an office without consulting with the grounds crew there or whatever they're called. I mean, seriously, if you wanted to rearrange an office, you have to have permission. In the office I worked in, if you wanted to rearrange anything, I'm talking about just moving one desk to the other side, you had to have permission. Yeah. And so, that's where I think
the lack of transparency, the lack of accessibility, the lack of, when I say accessibility, I mean for the public to get questions answered. By the Justice Administration. And it all starts from the top. There's an old saying, the fish rots from the head. And that's the problem, is the guy at the top. And so when somebody doesn't show up for work, either their cabinet secretary sometimes will sometimes not do what they're supposed to do, and sometimes they do things that they're not supposed to do and just act. And I think in that particular division, you have folks who just act without being transparent with the taxpayers' money. And unfortunately, in other departments, there's just not enough getting done. As when you're talking about the departments that oversee our overburdened foster care system, or the IDD waiver program, or things like that, not enough is getting done. And in other places, they can just do whatever they want without answering to anybody because the boss doesn't show up for work. And that's the ongoing theme, is that the boss doesn't show up.
Much like a lot of offices that are listening right now, the boss doesn't show up. Bad things happen.
That's right.
It's like when you have a substitute teacher in school. Text says, I learned from home that the deep state attempted to steal an election from Donald Trump. Then I learned from the Secretary of State that the CIA tried to rig the election. Then I learned from Representative Mooney and Miller that the vice president can reject any valid electoral votes just because the president says so. Then I learned from Senator Capito that it is an oath of office for senators includes endorsing political violence. Then I learned that the president can sic the military on Americans who disagree with the president by calling them enemies within. Then I learned from Republicans that anyone who's not a Republican is a Marxist, socialist, and communist. See, I have a robust education on civics. Very, very tongue-in-cheek there, but
unfortunately,
there's some valid points.
Unfortunately, all these things have been said by many elected officials and people who should be responsible with their rhetoric. Especially, the chief election officer of the state of West Virginia, who attended a Stop the Steal rally when he was the chief election officer of the state. It is very concerning. And that's really, I think, what really bothers me the most about politics these days is some people can say things that are just so incredibly irresponsible and dangerous. And they just repeat the lie and repeat the lie and repeat the lie. And you got a guy like Elon Musk who bought Twitter, changed the name of it.
X.
What do you call it? The artist formerly known
as Twitter. Formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah. And he pushes his own account, which is constantly pushing misinformation. And it is misinformation. And I just read this story recently where he has these fake websites that are pretending to be Harris Wall's websites, where they're putting out a fake platform, like things that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz have never said, but they're putting it out as this fake platform and they're acting like they are official websites of the campaign. And it's incredibly dangerous, and I'm terribly worried about the direction our country's going.
I did a whole
because of politics like that.
A whole little spiel the other day about fake news. I think it was on Thursday or Friday's show, and then over the weekend there's something that's being circulated on social media that has this tree of everybody that's related. And supposedly it was like, Adam Schiff was married to none of it's true.
None of it is true, but people share, but anybody can share it.
A simple Google search will tell you. I think it was Adam Schiff's sister was supposed to be married. Adam Schiff doesn't have a sister. I looked, I Googled it myself. He doesn't have a sister.
But none of
that was true.
There. And I'm 100% for free speech, but there's also a responsibility that comes with freedom.
Yeah.
And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And Elon Musk is really pushing the boundaries of it because he owns this huge social media company, is able to control so much misinformation. And it's stuff like that he's putting out there. And, if anybody should be concerned about somebody in the media or on social media, it should be Elon Musk.
Text says, Mike, the sovereign wealth fund of Abu Dhabi paid off Jimbo's loans. Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates, not of Saudi Arabia.
Okay, I stand corrected. So he is taking foreign money to pay off his debts. Yes.
Text says, Dave, tell Mike he is reaching for straws and continues to attack a former president who has a history of great policies for this nation. He needs to realize he needs to realize that the Democratic Party is done in West Virginia and being less and less in the nation. Democrats have too many damaging policies. Common sense, Mike.
Well, let's name some of these policies. What were the policies of Donald Trump? Were a huge tax cut for the rich, people like Elon Musk, and that's probably why people like Elon Musk are putting so much money into this campaign, because they're the ones who really benefit from these top-ended tax cuts. He packed the courts with judges who have been really anti-labor, anti-women, They overturned Roe v. Wade, and now in a state like West Virginia, women have lost 50 years of reproductive freedom that they had under Roe has been taken away in states like West Virginia, who haven't been allowed to vote on it. Like he says, we're going to send it back to the states and let them vote on it. Well, West Virginia hasn't been allowed to do that. And he stripped away a lot of regulations that kept us safe, kept our water cleaner, kept our air cleaner, things like that were meant to just help people. That's what his policies were. That's all he did. Now, if you look at what the policies have been since then, we were able to get out of the worst pandemic we've had in 100 years, or the worst economic crisis we've had in 100 years through the American Rescue Plan that actually sent money down to the cities and the counties and bypassed governors like Jim Justice, who never spent the CARES Act money. When he did it on the baby dog truck sweepstakes. President Biden and Vice President Harris were able to pass the infrastructure bill that sent all sorts of investment to states like West Virginia, helped us rebuild our roads and our bridges, put a lot of people to work here. He was able to pass, Biden and Harris administration was able to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, which also incentivized a lot of investment here in West Virginia. And that's why you have these announcements like Form Energy and Nucor. And I could go on, but you're waving at me to wrap it up.
We got to
go on. Those are the policies that have benefited West Virginia from the Biden-Harris administration. There weren't any under Trump.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office wants to remind you of a very important date. After October 18th, you must pay any 2023 delinquent real property taxes with certified funds or U.S. currency. No personal checks or credit cards will be accepted. After October 31st, all 2023 delinquent real estate accounts and the related current year assessment will be certified to the state auditor at the state capitol. Visit kanawhasheriff.us to learn more.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigglyPigglyWiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
Creating a better future for West Virginia families. That's the promise of Andrew Anderson. Born and raised in Kanawha County, Andrew Anderson now raises his kids in our community. Andrew Anderson is an engineer and job creator with decades of experience in energy and manufacturing. Andrew will take his experience to the House of Delegates to create more jobs and end the drug abuse crisis that hurts our families. Vote Andrew Anderson for House of Delegates.
I'm Andrew Anderson, and I ask for your vote on November 5th for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Andrew Anderson for West Virginia.
It's 5 away from 10. Make that 4 away from 10. Older adults should protect themselves against severe respiratory disease. Talk to your doctor about flu, COVID-19, and RSV vaccines. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza, where you can get this month a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie, only $23.99. Dave says a texter, every time Mike comes on your show, he complains about everything and is doom and gloom. The typical Democrat. We got rid of folks like him here in Florida, and hopefully West Virginia will dump he and Kayla Young.
Look, I talk honestly about the state because I love this state, and I feel the people deserve better, especially our teachers and other workers in the public sector here who are finding out now that under once again, under the watch of Jim Justice and the Republican legislature, their health insurance is going to go up. The PEIA premiums are going to go up again. It's not fair to them. And in fact, Governor Justice said early in his administration, that PEI, I think it was during one of the teacher strikes, where PEI was they weren't going to raise premiums under his watch. Well, they already have once, and now they're talking about doing it again. And I feel the real motive here and the real goal of the Republican Party in West Virginia is to privatize it and to throw our teachers and other people who work in public service, they're going to throw them to the wolves. And we don't have enough teachers now. We don't have enough correctional officers now. We don't have enough people working for Child Protective Services now. How are we going to attract more people to that when we keep raising their premiums without giving them enough raises to offset it? And you know who's really getting can I say screwed?
Sure.
I'll tell you who's really getting screwed.
I referred to Arnold Palmer's penis.
I'm not going to be as filthy as the former president was, but who's really getting screwed in West Virginia are retirees, our former state workers who are retirees, and they don't get a cost of living adjustment, yet their health care costs keep going up and up and up because people at the legislature aren't able to do the heavy lifting and actually fund it and actually prioritize taking care of those who took care of us.
You wanted to say something, told me during the break, about polling numbers. Is that what you said? You said something about polling numbers?
Polling numbers. No, actually, I mean, we could talk about that if you have a poll. Did you want to?
No, I thought that's what you said.
I don't have anything new to share. No, I said rides to the polls.
Rides to the polls.
Early voting. I just want to say early voting in West Virginia starts on Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah.
And goes through November 2nd. Of course, we all know Election Day is November 5th. Here in Kanawha County, if you or anybody you know needs a ride to the poll, regardless of who you vote for, we want you to vote. If you need a ride to the poll, you can call my campaign at 304-989-6856. 304-989-6856. We will take you to vote. Go vote.
Let me close with this real quick. Are you concerned that either party or that the station goes to or that the country goes to hell in a handbasket if the other side wins? Because I hear a lot about that. Give me 20.
I'm very concerned about what was second Trump presidency would look like, but I do have great faith in this country. I think we're going to be able to get through anything, even that, hopefully. But no, I'm concerned about the consolidation of power and some of the dangerous rhetoric that he's thrown out there. So we're just all going to vote because when we fight, we win.
All right, we got to go. Mike, thank you so much. Thanks to our other guests on the show today, producer Ryan Nicholson as well. Hoppy coming up at 10:06, Metro News Talk Line. Download the all-new Metro News TV app and the WVRC Media app, too. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun. I love somebody.
WCHS-AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W3AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here, too.